Morning, members. We have the quorum. It is about time to make a start. We are proceeding with the election of chairman for the panel on security. The clerk has issued notices to members that by the end of the deadline, we have received one nomination, valid nomination. That's Mr. Gary Chen, nominated by Mr. Edmund Wong, and seconded by Mr. Ronick Chen. In accordance with ROP 76, a member who is the chairman or deputy chairman of the government advisory body in respect of matters directly related to the terms of reference of the panel shall not be chairman or deputy chairman. And subsection 7, a member shall not be chairman or deputy chairman of more than one panel. The clerk has checked and notified members that Mr. Gary Chen is not sitting on any of the bodies in the list of government advisory bodies as chairman or vice chairman, and neither was Mr. Chen elected as chairman of any other panels. In accordance with House Rule, Appendix 4, Section 8A, if there is only one valid nomination for the office of chairman, the nominee shall be deemed to be elected as chairman. Therefore, I declare now that Mr. Chen elected as chairman. Congratulations, Mr. Chen. I yield the floor to you. Thanks very much for your support, members. Let's proceed with the election of the deputy chairman. The clerk has notified members that by the end of the deadline, we have only received one valid nomination. And the member nominated is Mr. Lai Tong Kwok, nominated by Mr. Bill Tang, and seconded by Mr. Dominic Lee. And under ROP 76, a member who is the chairman or deputy chairman of the government advisory body in respect of matters directly related to the TOR of the panel shall not be chairman or deputy chairman. And subsection 7 provides that the member shall not be chairman or deputy chairman of more than one panel. And the clerk has checked and confirmed that Mr. Lai is not sitting on any of the bodies on the list of government advisory bodies as chairman or vice chairman. Neither was Mr. Lai elected as chairman or vice chairman of any of the panels. Under House Rule, Appendix 4, Section 8A, if there is only one valid nomination for the office of chairman, the nominee shall be deemed to be elected as deputy chairman. Therefore, I declare that Mr. Lai Tong Kwok duly elected as deputy chairman of the panel on security. Congratulations, Mr. Lai. Under Section 14.1, the President has already decided on the meetings for the period between January 2022 and July. And I'd like to ask members to have a look at the scheduled meetings. Subject to members' endorsement, we will be following the practice of the previous panel, and that is we will have the meeting on the first Tuesday of each month, a Tuesday at 4:30 p.m. Please refer to the schedule, and I have all the meeting days listed in the schedule there. The first Tuesday in February is a public holiday. So we'll be rescheduling the meeting to the 8th of February at 10:45. the motion of thanks debate will be taking place on the 16th of February. At the request of the administration, we have set aside the first part of the meeting scheduled for the 8th of February for a briefing by the Secretary for Security and the Commissioner of ICAC to brief members on the policy address 2021. Do all agree that we should have this briefing? No objection. Also, likewise, the first Tuesday in April is also a public holiday, a Qingming festival holiday. So we will be rescheduling the meeting to either the 1st of April, 10:45, or 4th of April, 4:30 p.m. I'll be liaising with the administration. They will be notifying members of the finalized date. So please stay tuned. Item 3, matters for the next meeting. For the February meeting, I've already told you the time and the date. And this is a meeting for a policy briefing in the context of the policy address. The administration also suggests that the Commissioner of Police give a report on the crime situation for 2021 following the policy briefing. So we're going to have a pretty heavy agenda. The members from the previous term have already covered some of the points for the policy address. So we focus our attention on the crime situation. So we'll have to extend the meeting to 1 p.m. It all depends on the situation. We'll confirm that later on. No comments? Later on, together with the Deputy Chairman, I'll be discussing with the Secretary for Security the work ahead of us. If you have any matters of concern, you can reflect these to the Secretary by means of through me or the Deputy Chair. We have Elizabeth Quat, Mr. Lai Tong Quat, Bill Tang. Ms. Quat, please make it brief. Yes, Chairman, a couple of things that I've been following up on from the previous term. I hope this will be put on the agenda. The first one is Article 23 legislation. Number 2, previously the administration accepted our proposal to enact the cyber security legislation. I'd like to hear more from the administration. And also fake news and the hatred on the web and so on. And also insult to public officers. I understand that work is in hand, and we're going to be doing this together with the other panels. The CPD, the Secretary said that this will be considered. I hope that there would be a ban on the sale and import. And also on non-refoulement claims, that's the bogus refugees. This has not been resolved, and I hope this can also be discussed. Also, the mechanism for checking the sex crime conviction. Right. This has been recorded by the clerk, Mr. Dominic Lee. A couple of things that are important. Article 23 legislation. We know that the administration is going to be activating the consultation process pretty soon, and I hope that the security panel, we can have a more in-depth discussion here. All along, we have been very concerned about the issue of fake news. In 2019, the anti-extradition riot is the result of a lot of the fake news. So the legislation is a meeting of no delay. Third, insult of public officers, in particular the police. They have been on the receiving end of the black rioters. And I hope that the administration will legislate in this regard. Also, the bogus refugees. Now, there are so many non-refoulement claims and judicial review cases, and this is costing us a lot of taxpayers' money. I hope that the panel will be of concern. Right, Mr. Lee, Article 23, they have to come through the panel. As to fake news and insult of the public officers, at the HA panel, this will be followed up. I will jot this down and refer this to the relevant panel. Deputy Chair, Mr. Lai. Chairman, Ms. Elizabeth Court and Mr. Dominic Lee has made many points. I'd like to highlight two issues. Non-refoulement claims. One is the issue of repatriation. This is dear to my heart. The Immigration Department has almost completed all the examination, but there are some judicial processes that are delaying the repatriation, and probably they haven't gone far enough with regard to repatriation. We have seen the immigration ordinance amended. As a result of the amendment, has it achieved good effect? Also, narcotics, in particular, drug problems among the younger population is getting increasingly serious. What measures does the government have up its sleeve to tackle and combat this problem? Thank you. Thanks very much, Deputy. Mr. Bill Tang, Chairman. I don't propose to repeat the points made. A couple of things here. Recruitment situation for the disciplined forces. Are we going to improve the remuneration in terms and the package of benefits? There are some discipline services that are experiencing recruitment problems. Also, for the disciplined forces, can we bring up the retirement age? Again, a lot of the disciplined forces, the police and others, asked why they have to retire 5 years ahead of their civilian counterparts, because they do have the abilities physically and so on to cope with the job. Also, rehabilitation. For whatever reason, people may need to be rehabilitated, and in particular those involved in the 2019 Black Riot situation. Also, the import of talents, consultation for the importation of talents. Now, I am from the labor sector. I'm very concerned about this. Now, this is going to be helpful to economic development, but is there any abuse of the scheme? Mr. Edmund Wong. Chairman, thank you. COVID is still raging, and I hope that the Security Bureau will provide good enough protection measures for those who are on the sharp end of the anti-epidemic efforts. In Venice Bay, we have the CAS, the AMS, and the FSD. Yesterday, there was a CAS staff member who got infected. I'd like to review all the protection measures and the training in this regard. The other thing was mentioned by Mr. Bill Tang, the remuneration for the discipline services. What I'd like to bring up is the auxiliary services. AMS, CAS had experienced recruitment difficulties. These staff members are getting paid on an hourly basis far lower than for the auxiliary police. I know the nature of work is different, but in terms of entry pay, CAS, AMS, or even government flying services, the auxiliaries, they're getting paid $47 per hour, and it is $101 for the auxiliary police. And I hope that the panel would look into this particular area. Right, all jotted down. Mr. Kennedy Wong. Chairman, thank you. Mr. Bill Tang already alluded to this briefly. I know that the police are 5,000 people short of the establishment. And over the past couple of months, we've seen cases in which some ammunitions were brought into Hong Kong illegally, I'd like to bring up this issue about the equipment for the police. Can we acquire more sophisticated equipment for the police in order to improve the morale and the equipment?
Ms. Maggie Chen and Mr. Paul Tse. Ms. Chen, please. Thank you, Chair. Legislation of Article 23 is very important. I hope that we can commence the legislative process as soon as possible. And I deem these very important in our current session. And also, fake news is serious. We have to legislate in order to combat to fight against the situation of fake news. Also, about the lack of personnel in the front line police force. We really have to give due recognition to our police force because they have been working very well during the riot situation. And I believe that their remuneration has to be enhanced. And regarding the education for national security, since we are the panel on security, we should work together with the education panel in order to promote the education of the national security law in Hong Kong. And I believe that we should discuss or work on this area. Thank you. Mr. Paul Tse. Thank you, Chair. Well, perhaps this panel and other panels should discuss the following issue. Regarding the Black Riot, it has been curbed. However, there is still active activities of the so-called yellow economy. I noticed that there are some major media companies or shops that have complained that they have been blackmailed, and also their staff have been harassed, and also they have been facing unequal treatment. So I think we should legislate in order to rectify the situation. Ms. Maggie Chen. Well, I'd like to I hope that our panel would talk about the issue about the fundraising of the rioters or certain organizations, and also Article 23 legislation, and also legislation against fake news. These I would not repeat. Another point about the sex crime. I hope that we can also look into legislation in order to protect our youngsters in society and also the elderly groups in society. Last, Ms. Carmen Can. I will not repeat what other colleagues have raised. One point I'd like to raise regarding our ability to combat cyber crime. For instance, we should require enterprises to step up with their measures in order to combat the situation. Thank you. Well, colleagues, if you have other points to raise, you can put them in writing and submit to us. So when we're talking with the administration, we will bring up the points that you raised. The issues that you have raised, some of them have already been included on our agenda in the ensuing meetings. When I'm discussing with the Deputy Chairman and together with the Deputy Chairman with the administration, we will go through the issues and try to prioritize the issues. We will try our best to cover all the points that you have raised. But then if there is not enough time for the panel of this session to cover all the issues, we will defer them to the next session. No other business. A meeting adjourned. Thank you very much.